Hi there, this is John Wilkinson again from History Made Easier with another presentation focused on helping your approach to the source paper using past Treaty of Versailles questions. And this one looks at the big one, the 12-pointer. Now if you've watched any of my different series looking at paper 2, you'll appreciate the struggle I've had trying to put the sources onto slides so that you can see them. Well, I can't put the whole paper on, but I still think I can help you. So here goes. I'm using a past November paper from 2022. The heading was "Who Caused the Difficulties President Wilson Faced During the Peace Negotiations?" And the question, that of course instructs you to study all the sources, was how far do these sources provide convincing evidence that Wilson's difficulties were mainly caused by Clemenceau? And it says, use the sources to explain your answer. Now the first thing to say is do take note of the heading and any help that you get with that. If nothing else, it helps you to focus. And do read the question. Read all the questions carefully. Convincing is used in all these questions. So in this one, do the sources convince you that Clemenceau caused President Wilson the most difficulties? Or do they suggest something or someone else? But in this question, I also took note of the word mainly. So even if some of the sources point elsewhere, overall, do they leave you thinking that Clemenceau caused the most difficulties or not? You can make good use of keywords like these in your answer. Next, I'll turn to the mark scheme to point a few things out to you. The mark scheme tells examiners that sources used must be referenced by letter, the provenance, or by a direct quote, that there must be examples from source content, and that there must be an explanation of how this supports or doesn't support the statement. Please make sure you do these things. In source A, da-di-da-di-da, or the message in source D points to da-di-da-di-da, and give the message of the cartoon as an example of what the source is saying, or quote something from the source to explain what it is saying. When source C says da-di-da-di-da, give your short quote and explain how it fits into your answer. That source D is a speech made to justify his stance makes me question its usefulness. And always explain your point. And by the way, my source references bear no relationship with the actual paper. As for the mark bands, level 3, which has a band of 7 to 10 marks, is for answers that use sources to support and reject the statement. So, a balanced answer using all the sources can get you 10 marks. And with respect to the two arguments, the mark scheme also identifies how the sources can be used. In this example, the sources that agree with the statement are A, B, C, D, and E. Those that disagree are A, B, D, E, F, and G. Of course, I'm not showing the sources, but note that 4 of the 6 sources can be used for both arguments. You can use sources for one argument only, or you can say that you think a source can be used in different ways. So far so good, but how do you get 12 marks? Well, Examiners are instructed to award up to 2 bonus marks for evaluation of sources, no more than 1 mark per source. So, make sure you evaluate 2 of the sources. Can you trust them? Are they reliable? Are they useful? But don't go into a massive detail. There's only 1 mark per source, and don't evaluate more than 2. Level 2 has a band of 4 to 6 marks and is for answers that use the sources to either support or reject a statement, but not both, at least not adequately. This is usually the result of running out of time. So look, if you're running out of time, get through as many of the sources as you can, covering both arguments, and include explanations. Don't give up. Every mark counts to your overall grade. But let me show you a way in which you can save a lot of time before you get to that last question. And it's very simple. Read the last question first when you start the exam. Don't answer it, but be aware of it. And as you go through the rest of the questions, put a Y if they do provide convincing evidence, or an N if they don't. If you find it's breaking your concentration for some of the other questions, then stop. You'll still be speeding things up a little when you get to that last question. So, let's try and show at least a few of the things I've been saying by using a couple of the cartoons from the paper I've been using. The 2 sources were linked in a question that asked, study sources F and G, how far do these 2 cartoonists agree? Explain your answer using details of the sources and your knowledge, and there were 8 marks. Now I'm not going to answer it, though you can now practice doing so, but what I could do is note how they both give a sense of American superiority, of Wilson being in control, and how, for source F, America is acting selflessly, when America had profited from the war and would profit from the peace, whilst the Europeans and Japan are only concerned with their own needs. Franco-American alliance, for example. Or of Wilson being in control and dealing with whinging Europeans and their selfish claims, source G. So I'm going to say I can't trust them as much as other sources. And with an eye on the last question, I can mark them both with an N for no or a D for disagree. It doesn't matter. But I'm saving time. So, as always, I hope that is useful for you. And I hope my puskin didn't get in the way too much here. I heard meowing as I was working through this. And as always, and for the last time in this particular series, I will remind you that I have 18 past papers on the Treaty of Versailles and the Paris Peace Conference as a whole, plus their mark schemes, plus the examiner's reports. It's the kind of thing we can work with in tutorials, if you think that might be useful for you. If you've been listening to my videos, you know the drill. Get your parents to contact me at historymadeeasier@gmail.com and we'll see if we can sort something out. But with that done, let me also thank you, as I hope I always have done, for listening, and wish you the very best of luck in your studies, and with your exam if you are getting close to it. You will do very well. Cheers.